Everybody, it's CashApp, and Serafiel, and tonight we're going to do something different. I did have something that's pretty much ready to go. Continuation from the last couple videos. Call it the I am algorithm that determines like you, how you interact with the world, and how everyone else is. That's going to be a pretty good one. But something happened in the middle of the day, and she just popped an idea in my head, and I'm not sure why, but we're going to go with it because it's kind of cool. And maybe there's some other people out there that can make some interesting stuff if we share how we do it. And we're going to talk about how to make conscious energy tools. Keyword is conscious, because an energy tool would just be like a mechanical thing. Like take organite, for example. That is based on like one guy, like I think it's Wilhelm Reich, I could be wrong. His ideas about energy and like this makes it so and whatever, and like it's one guy's idea. It doesn't really do anything except what it does. Supposedly it transmutes deadly orgone energy into, okay, whatever. I mean, people can generally feel that they do something, but they're not doing anything interesting. Conscious energy tools are very different, much more programmable, much more versatile, and help you tap into the consciousness field, the flame. They can be upgraded. They're pretty much unlimited. But the key is understanding how to build them, because it's not necessarily about, partially, it's not necessarily about the physical act of building them, but how you build them in the mind as you build them. That makes all the difference in the world, because what you're doing is you're taking different types of medium that have proven themselves to work certain ways, agreed upon within the collective consciousness field, and then you are putting them together and determining exactly what they're going to do or what they're capable of doing, because you are the creator. You're creating something new. You're creating it with your mind, and you're going through a process of combining a lot of different things together, um, that's not necessarily mechanical. You're combining different types of knowledge and different types of intent and things like that. And then you add your extra spice to it, however you want to do it, to add energetic, a energetic charge to it, but also a consciousness charge to it, like the presence invocations we do connected to the Mara, or Sophia, Lumen, the flame, the light, whatever you want to call it. And I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe she wants me to share this because other people could create other interesting stuff. I'm not worried about like anybody competing with me. I mean, I'm pretty much know I have it on lock as far as like what my stuff can do. But it might give you some ideas. And if you want to play around with it, it's a good thing to, it's a good hobby to have, because it'll teach you so much about how all this stuff works with your intent. And then you get to test it, you get to feel it, you see other people test and feel it, how the devices, they're interacting with you on different levels. They're interacting with the human biofield, is what she calls it, but also the consciousness field too. And they can work differently for people that are more output energy based, like I am, or people that are more input energy based, which would be more of like your psychic readers, your empaths, psychometry, things like that. It's just picking the right tool for the right job. But it's the thing that I've never actually shared before, is just try to like walk you through the process and see like how it's actually built mostly in the mind, and then it becomes this creation that's actually functional. And then maybe you want to play around with it. I think for most people, if they wanted to play around with it, you could get the supplies pretty cheap. And then you would be, it wouldn't be so, it can be tricky to find the right stones and you got to have a little bit of a knowledge. But I mean, just functionally speaking, it wouldn't cost you that much, but you have to keep playing with it and building it up because your knowledge, your ability, your energy levels, understanding how it works, that's what actually makes the thing freaking do the thing. But still, it's something that's going to build your skill set if you want to try it out. So anyway, if you want to know more, don't go away.
I've got a river running right into you. I've got a blood trail red in the blue. Something you say or something you do. A taste of the divine. You got my body, flesh and bone, yeah. The sky above me, earth below. Raise me
Okay, so the first thing as a creator is it's got to be original. This is a problem people have that do magic and other sorts of things. Like it's like if you ever messed around with basic magic, you should figure out quite quickly that it works okay if you follow somebody's step-by-step instructions, but it works better if you take those step-by-step instructions and tweak them yourself. The key is it needs to make sense to you why the because factor is. This is going to do a thing because of this reason. So you're going to need some basic knowledge and things like that. Knowledge about stones. Now, stones and crystals have been used since the beginning of freaking time. They talk a lot about certain stones and crystals, even in the Bible. Common stones like amethyst have been known to be used for thousands of freaking years as like protection. And the interesting thing about amethyst is sobriety. And the funny thing about that one, since I'm thinking of it, is it does help with stuff, like drinking and whatnot, but I don't think that's what it really means. I think it means more like a clear mind, you know, from sirens, from like the matrix mind, so to speak. Like Christ said in one of the books, is like, for they are drunk in their hearts and cannot see, but when they sober up, they'll wake up and figure things out. And people starting out might think crystals are like hippy dippy BS because some people present it that way. Everybody's seen the woman at the crystal store in the tie-dye dress that talks all airy, like that's how spiritual people are supposed to talk. And there's lots of memes and stuff about it. And I used to make fun of it myself. I'm like, they're just rocks. They don't do nothing. That was back when I was strictly in ego mode. But I've told a story when I met one of my earliest mentors when I was led to somebody before this stuff started happening, like in 2011. She's like a super psychic, and her place is gridded up with all these crystals lined up with different meridians or ley lines or something. I don't freaking know. But I was I was looking for information. I was led to this person, and when I got to her house and I was sitting there talking to her, I'm like, what is like? Why do I feel so weird, like lightheaded or whatever? And she explained the energy thing, and then she said, I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed by the energy. I never felt freaking energy before. So I think I got one right here. So she took me in this other room where she had a lot of rock specimens, and she gave me like a, this isn't the piece, I'm just showing you. She gave me this big piece of green fluorite and told me to sit with it in my lap and just hold it for a minute. And strangely enough, it made me feel a lot better. I'm like, what the hell? And she's like, yeah, green fluorite brings order to chaos and clears the energy field and stuff like that. So when you're all scattered, like that balances things out. I'm like, that is crazy. I'd never felt anything like that before. That was my first introduction to the fact that stones actually do something. And I played around with stuff in those early days, but it'd basically be like, you know, your standard level person. Oh, black tourmaline does this. And so you just get like a single stone pendant and hang it around your neck. Okay, so that is the mineral composition of specific stones that are affecting the human biofield a specific way. That is a simple mechanical response. That is not a conscious energy tool. And so you want to be able to tap into this collective agreement field. See, when we talk about the, you know, the collective belief in the veil and stuff like that's the reason why the world is so screwed up, is because everybody believes it is that way. Well, you got to look at the beneficial things that lots and lots of people agree on as well, like crystals do a certain thing. Um, and that's like an agreement that's been held for like thousands of years. So you can use that by tapping into it. So you would want to have, because I believe strongly on using just like crystal stones and like magnet wire and resin. I don't use freaking metal shavings like organite. I don't know why. It's just like she's never led me to do it, and there's a like you can make those things wrong, and they can pull in negative energy and become negative energy bombs and not discharge it if you make organite wrong. But anyway, you need to know about stones. So you want to have the book that I recommend is called The Book of Stones by Robert Simmons. And I recommend getting it on Kindle, because with Kindle, you can like open the book and search like negative energy. And then the results are going to show you every time the words negative energy shows up in every one of those little chapters is going to be a different stone. So you can figure out, so you can learn really quickly, like what are the best stones for negative energy and how are they supposed to work and what stones do they work in harmony with. Now, there's a couple other books out there like the Crystal Bible by Judy something. Don't like that one. There was an older book I used to have that I regret getting rid of. I forget what it was called. But the most useful one for building this kind of stuff that I've found is called the Book of Stones. And here's where that is so important, because you're building a conscious energy tool, is when you spend some time reading about the different stones, you'll find that they're supposed to do many different things. That means everything that you build out of multiple stones has the capability of doing a lot more than you originally intended it to. And spirit may actually activate those hidden traits in it. but you kind of need to know, like, you know, figure out like what are the best ones. Don't trust, you want to do your own research. Normally speaking, I don't trust things of the world, but this is one of those times where it's useful, and you're like smoky quartz is like extremely grounding and extremely good at transmuting negative energy, which is just negative thought forms and stuff like that. And everybody knows that, and everybody agrees on that. So if you use it in your formula, and it's something like that that's very wide known, you're tapping into the collective agreement of everybody that knows about smoky quartz and ever has. So you know that that is going to be an extremely useful ingredient, and it's going to do that for you. Then you start pairing, if you want to pair it with other stones that do the same type of stuff, like black tourmaline, like adrene, black, it's usually the darker black stuff, black jade, black obsidian, gold sheen obsidian, jet, which isn't really a stone, but a lot of people use it. That just builds it up and adds to it. So then you read all the stuff about it, and you're like, oh, this one is extremely effective about this type of negative energy, and this does this, and this one works because it also has a piezoelectric effect. And shungite is very shungite has something in it called fullerenes, and it's supposed to be really good at electromagnetic type nullification and stuff like that. And it's like, well, how does it do that? I don't know. But the fact that so many people agree that it does makes it do it. That's one thing that you're tapping into. That's how you're building your ingredients for the thing that you're creating. And you collect as many of the ingredients as, I've got tons and tons and tons and tons of stones because I do this. And whenever I need to grab something, like, it generally turns up for me. But you've got all these becauses in your head. This does this because. Now, the thing that I'm creating is going to be extremely effective because I've put all these ingredients that work harmoniously from different angles toward the same end. So it's the building of it in your mind that's going to make it work in the end run. Okay. Now, other things would be you have to have you have to be able to believe in yourself that you can do these sort of things. If you don't think you can do it, then you're not going to be able to do it. You should also probably be already semi-fluent in energy. You should probably have already experimented, played around with stones, and noticed that they actually do things. They have changes, so that your mind knows from experience that stones actually do something. So that's something that you have experienced. You know it works, so you can believe that it's going to do it. Knowing what type of energy person you are is going to help. Are you like I said earlier, are you an input or an output person? There seems to me be more input people than output people. Output people are very strong flame types. We can project energy extremely powerfully. We can make things happen quite powerfully, but we're more weighted towards putting energy out or putting energy into things. So people like me don't usually get as much of a fun effect from these tools as someone who is an input type. Because I've had people like, oh, this is making pulses up my arm and I can feel this, and all this stuff that they feel. Well, I don't feel it that much. There's two types of people. There's like primary effect and secondary effect. Primary effect people feel the buzz of the energy. Secondary effect people might not feel buzzy, but they can feel and understand the changes that it's making on them. It's clearing your head. It's making you feel lighter, making you feel happier. Whatever the intended end result is, the end result you're going for is not to get a buzz from it, but for it to actually do something, to change something, to alter something, to fix something, or enhance something. Just depends on what you're actually building. So now I think people that are input types can do it just as can do it too, but I'm not that type of person. It's going to change from person to person. What really matters is that you can believe you can do it. Okay, and you want to follow your inner guidance, which is going to be her, your intuition. See, when I make these different types of pendants, it is not like making a sundae where it's like, 2 pumps of ice cream, 2 pumps of hot fudge, a handful of peanuts. It's going to have a lot of the same stuff, but it's never going to be the exact perfect quantity of each. And there can be variations in the stones. What matters is that I tap into her field and I basically let her guide it. Put this in, put that in, put more of this, put less of that. And then, especially if it's being made for a specific person, like she's definitely going to guide that. Uh, and then it always ends up working. Now, what else? In the beginning, it's going to be very helpful if you have a friend who is very energy sensitive. Now, I had someone that had gifts that I can't even freaking explain. So that was extremely beneficial to me because she could not only feel it, she could see on all these different levels, the different levels of the energy body. She could watch the energy and trace it through the system and tell me exactly what it's doing. I would have her test my stuff blind, and she would describe it so well that 90 to 95% of the time she could eventually pretty much guess what its purpose was without looking at a label or anything like that, because originally it was oils, stone oils. So when you've got somebody that you're friends with that is energy sensitive, that can then take your creation and hold it and tell you what they feel and what it's doing, that's a great freaking resource, because then you're going to know from a third person that what you made worked and is beneficial. Now, in the early days when I was more experimental, like some of my oil formulas were a little chaotic. Other ones were great, and she would tell me that some of them had a consciousness in them, which would be her. And just depending on what its purpose was, I didn't understand that at the time. I didn't know how I was doing it. She was teaching. I hadn't even met Lumen yet, but she was guiding me. She gave me the idea because it was going to help me get as far as I did, because you got to have tools that are constantly running and constantly doing stuff that your conscious mind can't be focused on all the time. But then as time went on, having that resource in the beginning, that seriously bolstered my belief in what I could do. And she even said, like, I've been doing this for like 30 some years. I've never seen anybody make anything like this. Like, how are you doing it? I'm like, I don't know. I just know. Now, what was interesting as time went on, a couple years later, it's been a while since I've seen her, but I would have like something that might have been a little experimental or something like that. And she would say, oh, it's a little off on something. And I'm like, okay, hand it here. She'd hand it back to me and I'd hold it in my hand, and I would just, in my mind, make the changes and hand it back to her. And she's like, holy crap, now it's working. I'm like, that's how fast and quick it works, because your mind is what is making it work. Your mind is what is programmed. You're actually creating in real time. And over time, just experimenting with her and stuff like that, that's how I figured out how to do this stuff. And through experimentation over the years, I started out trying to collect as many of like these high power, expensive stones as I could, which was very pricey. The problem I had with that is that the people buying the pendant didn't understand all these ingredients. So I couldn't ever charge what they were actually worth. I'm like, this thing's got Aho white quartz in it. I don't know what that is. Why is this pendant so much? But over time, I learned that I didn't necessarily need the fancier stones. As long as I knew what they did, I could make a pendant do the exact same thing with just like quartz, and my friend would test it and confirm it. But I still like to use the different stuff. So recently, like when I started making it usually starts with a personal need that I need to bolster, uh, led by her. So I needed to break a ceiling toward more remembrance and getting more deeper information for my purpose, which is to solve the game. So that's when I started making these new ones that I've been cranking out. Um, they're like divine downloaders, remembrance. It's all this like third eye and crown chakra and a little bit of throat and etheric chakras, um, stones based on that. And there's a bunch of them. And I hadn't used a lot of those before because the reason I stayed away from like the psychic type stones is people don't understand what it is. Like they expect to get like X-Men powers from the movies, and they don't understand like half of this stuff they already have, but they don't understand what it is. Third eye is the imagination and stuff like that. So they would have like these fantastic ideas of what it was going to make them be able to do, which wasn't realistic. So I steered away from it. But recently she had me go back and start making ones like this. And you can't really see here, but that's not just amethyst. That's like celestial super 7. Turn it down a little bit. Get a good look at it. Like that purple stone. I'll also have to throw a picture up there. But there's probably, bare minimum, there's probably close to 15 different types of stones in this one little pendant. Doesn't take a lot because they're like, the way it was explained to me by a guy that used to sell me stones, like each stone is like a line of code, because what I'm making is something that is greater than the sum of its parts. So people would be like, well, I want this stone and I want that stone because I heard about it on TikTok, freaking moldavite, crap like that. I'm like, yeah, but it's not going to be that stone. That stone is an ingredient. It's like making chili. You're worried about one ingredient, not the chili. Because once it's done, once it's become a consciousness energy tool, it's doing something far greater than the one stone can do. Like if you just got a certain stone or a certain crystal and hung it around your neck, it's only going to be working on the human biofield. It's not going to have a freaking living computer in it. But the thing about these, the stuff that's like the third eye, crown chakra, spiritual connection, different types of abilities, is each one of these stones does so many different things that when you put like a whole bunch of them together, it has the potential to do anything that you're wired for, ready for, what spirit needs it for. So everything that I say that they do is kind of like the starter package. Like I know it's going to do these sort of things and it's going to have presence attached to it, but everybody's different. So they could have completely different experiences with them, but they always get something. A lot of times they do things for people that I didn't expect, but that's how she taught me how to program them. There's programming in them to open them up to what they need based on what she says, because we're all plugged into her. She's not individual to us. And she knows what you need more than I do. Back in the early days, I used to do consults and do recommendations based on the intellectual knowledge. And someone would get like an Aegis anti-negative energy pendant because based on what they told me, that's what it sounded like they needed. And then I'd be packaging it up and Lumen would be like, put this pendant in there too. I'm like, why? That's a love energy pendant. That doesn't make any sense. And she's like, just do it. And then they get the package with this surprise extra pendant in it. And which one do you think they were pulled to first? The one that Lumen told me to put in there. Because some of the stuff could be subconscious that you don't realize, like that's the actual root of the issue. It could be something that people don't feel comfortable telling me about, but she knows. So that's why it's so important. Even when I'm making things to put up that aren't made to order for that person, they're in the time space field, they're made to order for whoever's going to eventually buy it. So she knows what that is. And that's why we always tell people, go by feeling when you're shopping on the store more than what the description says or what it looks like. Go to which one pulls to you. That would be her pointing them out. So things like this have a much higher, especially if it has more quartz crystal type stuff in it. Because quartz crystal, clear optical calcite, things like that, they're more consciously programmable. So when you going something fancy, you need to have quartz in there, or clear calcite, something that stores more of her programming, more of the consciousness field. Now, something like this, now I learned to add quartz into it, even though the quartz itself isn't part of the formula. The quartz is what is programmable. So I just made this one tonight, and this one can do several different things. It's mainly going to be like something that clears out negative energy, that in a way that black tourmaline probably wouldn't do it, using the flame. So this one here, you know, I made some of these a while back. I called them lava bombs or volcano pendants. This one's tweaked a little bit because I added some of that glow resin. So you can see it here. That's UV reactive. So it glows really bright, but also it doesn't work as well on camera. It just looks blue on camera. To here, it's orange, so it looks like freaking lava running through it. But this has brimstone in it, which is sulfur quartz. That's the one she led me to. The yellow stuff, that's where we discovered that it creates this burning energy, like you freaking actually feel it. She called it refiner's fire, Christ fire. That's what we started adding to the negative energy, because it just hits it on another level. Like it burns on your whatever stuff you haven't let go of that's still stuck in there. It freaking burns. But it's also got black obsidian in it, and it's got lava stone in it. Those are 3 stones right away that are all products of freaking volcanoes. But then I also added fire agate, which is not volcanic, but is high flame energy. And then there's also quartz in here wrapped with the red magnet wire. That's the programmable part. So this one would be like very protective, very, very clearing, very hot. And these are just things that you pick up over time. Like I never would have made a fire pendant if she hadn't one day just out of the blue been like, you need to work with sulfur quartz. I'm like, okay. Because I don't think I messed with it a little bit once before, but like she had me spending hundreds of dollars on big clusters that I had to order from China. I mean, first time I made one of those things and put it on my chest, I'm like, whew, I don't usually feel energy the same way other people do, but man, this thing is freaking cooking me. And everyone else was saying the same thing, like this thing is hot. So I was like, what is that? But this is another thing about making energy tools, is being in contact with the people that use them. Because when you get multiple people reporting back the similar things, then you know that it's doing something of that nature. And you have confirmation. You know that the because chain of knowledge and creating it actually works. You've got feedback from other people that it actually works, and you learn something about it. And the more feedback that you have over time, the more people that use it over time and tell you what it does, that builds your belief, builds your confidence, it builds it into knowing. You're not just believing anymore, you know. You know what this stuff does. You know what it can do. You know what you can do. And now you've got actual freaking power. So I'm at the point now, after multiple years, I think I started making this stuff like in 2019, that I know I can make a pendant do anything I freaking want it to do. I just have to have the idea. If I have the idea of what I want it to do, she is going to help me formulate it and put it together. And it's not just putting the right materials together. Building it is part of the process of creating and programming it. Adding another clip in here because I forgot this. Something that I found when I was digging through my stuff. This is something else that I used to make. I don't make them anymore because it was such a pain in the butt. But I used to make these wands. It looks simple, but there's anything but freaking simple. So first I had to cast luminite a certain way with a certain crystal core with wire wrapped around it. But then the magnet wire that was cast inside the head of it came out the back, and then inside the metal tube I've got a selenite core because selenite amplifies energy and all that stuff. And then the wire wrapped around the selenite, and then I had to carve out a little notch in the pipe and bring it around and wrap the outer part with it, and then reconnect it inside and put the cap on and make sure everything was nice and tight and sealed and whatnot, so that when I locked it into my output hand, it's creating this big freaking amplification circuit. But the thing was, I'm like, okay, what do I do with it? Now, I had a couple people that did distance type stuff or whatever that thought they were great, but I'm like, these are a pain in the ass. And I don't freaking need it. But it was pretty cool. That's like a original idea that I did based on me just coming up with something the way I thought it would work. And I just found that. So got the metal polish out and cleared it up. So it works good. Plugged into this thing. Oh, there's two other ones that's another Super Aegis Flame Strike that I made earlier, and this one added some other, can't really see it, the purpurite. It's a purple stone that's really great at clearing stuff. But I keep touching this freaking thing because it shocks you, so I gotta be careful. But I'm like, well, that goes right good there because that's powered off this Tesla coil. Anyway, I just want to throw that in there because it was another cool little energy tool that I made. So that is like one of the biggest things that is powering it and programming it and something like that, is the actual process of making it. So take something like, which one is this? This one. Okay, this one is big. This one started out as a heart center pendant, like clearing the heart center like every way freaking imaginable. It's got dioptase and all these crazy heart stones. But that one's got a ton of stones in it. Okay, so something like that might take me a couple hours to make. Longer if I mess it up a little bit. That's another reason I started using UV resin, because if I get a bubble in it or something like that, I can carve the bubble out, refill it, recast it, and just keep doing it till it's perfect. Whereas the old resin, like, I couldn't do that. But if I'm watching TV in the background, I'm focused on building this. My attention is focused on what I'm creating for a long period of time. And each ingredient that I'm adding to it, I'm thinking about what that ingredient does and what it adds to it. So when you focus your energy and attention on a creation, you are powering it, you are programming it. The stuff that I do at the end before I ship things, like the different blessings and the powering attached to the flame, attached to the Mara, whatever, add the Benedict exorcism if I need to. That's all extra stuff. It's pretty much ready to go as soon as I finish it because I've been focused on what I'm creating the entire time. So you want to have a clear idea of what it is that you're creating before you begin and the time that it takes to do it. It's the same thing with magic sigils I've discovered that you sometimes see me put up. Where I would have like the effects take effect. I'm like, I didn't even like scan the sigil or do a process with it, and it's already working. That's because all the work was being done in creating it on my phone, figuring it out, choosing the right names of God, putting things in the right order. I'm building the mechanism in my consciousness. So by the time it's ready to, by the time I'm done, I'm like, okay, I made the sigil. It's already working because I already technically did it. Same thing with this. They're programmed by your focused attention and consciousness on what it is you're creating. And this teaches you a lot of stuff about how to focus your consciousness on creation and things like that, and to prove to yourself that what this stuff can actually do. And that's one of the reasons why I switched to Etsy a couple years back. I used to just sell these like in my Facebook group directly. Um, but there were also people I figured like I was also probably missing out on some sales because people feel more comfortable, protected working with you the first time if it's through something like Etsy that's guaranteeing certain things. But also what I wanted Etsy for was so I would have reviews. That way people can actually read and see like, oh, look at all these people saying how powerful it is, how it does all these different things. What you will not find on there is any negative reviews or someone said, this is just stupid and it sucks and it doesn't work. One of the reasons why is because people that are not flame aligned or awakened to a certain degree won't touch it. They don't like regular people or anyone too much negativity. If they don't have the flame in them, like they flat won't ever buy my stuff. It's only people that are compatible to the flame. And if you got my stuff and it's worked for you, you're compatible to her. Like you're waking stuff up. What else as far as like building things? Knowing there's going to be like certain stones, like you're going to have a lot of like selenite. Selenite. I got big pieces of it back here. Let me grab one. Selenite is fairly inexpensive and very, very common, but it is critical. So like that's a stick of selenite. It's a very soft mineral. Can't get it wet. But what it's known for is energy clearing. It's one of those ones that goes all the way up into the upper chakras, and it clears and charges other stones without needing to be cleared and charged itself. So back here, you can't see it, but I got this big log that I got at, back in the day, I used to be able to go to, is it Michael's? Not Michael's. Crap, I can't think of the store right now. It's one of those discount type home stores, but they would have all these crystals in there just for decor. But used to be able to get like these big selenite candle holders, and they were perfect for dropping stones and things in to just charge stuff all the time. So I started using selenite in almost everything as the self-charging energy recirculation clearing system in the pendants, because it boosts other stones, it clears other stones, and charges other stones. So adding selenite into the mix keeps the thing alive, basically, as opposed to like a regular crystal pendant where you would have to clear it and charge it and do all this stuff. Once you have that in there and you've programmed it as a conscious energy tool, that consciousness is going to be attached to it. So it keeps working. So that would be a good one. You always want to have some of that in there. I mean, just because a lot of people use selenite to build energy tools with, and you can usually, it's one of those ones you can usually feel pretty easily. Like it's just like a cooling sensation. Like you can actually feel the energy moving on you. What else? Hmm. I guess the biggest thing is just having a lot of different ideas that are your own, knowledge of things that a lot of collective people agree on because they've all read certain books or whatever, that these stones do these things. So when enough people believe that these stones do these things, like it's already preloaded for that, and you're tapping into that, makes it easier. You're just putting all the pieces together. And then you're going to experiment a lot. Like for me, it's just running the energy through my body and visualizing it. Uh, Also, I'm using all the different things like words, vibration, specific words, specific flame tongue, specific invocations. But mainly, I can take anything, and I've tested this countless times with people live. I can just hold it in my hand and tell it what to do and hand it to them, and they can feel the difference. Or I can charge it that way. Or I can, selenite. People are like, "Oh, I need to charge my crystal." Here, hand it to me. Feel it again. Feel it now. Like I can do it. Just me. Clear it, charge it, any of that stuff. We found that they have, even with people that are brand new to it, never felt a conscious energy tool before. I used to have certain ones that would be so high vibe that a lot of people would say they were too strong. Like, because I've felt stuff before, like this stuff. First time I ever encountered our Fedzonite, like back around 2012, I had a little arfedzonite pendant. I couldn't wear that for more than 5 minutes. I would get like so dizzy and lightheaded. It was a really strong stone. But even people that weren't used to this type of stuff, they'd say it's too strong. I said, okay, take it in your right hand and just tell it consciously, and you can say it out loud or whichever, say adjust to the level that I need right now. And they're like, oh, it just changed. Like it feels perfect now. Like, yeah, it's a conscious machine. It reacts to you. A lot, there were people I would find in the early days. They're like, I don't know. I think this thing ran out of charge. I'm like, it didn't run out of charge. What happened was it was running at a higher level than you were at the time, so it felt very zippy. But it brought you up to that level. So when those levels match out, you're not feeling the dissonance level. It doesn't feel like it's doing right now, it's just like maintaining. But if you feel like it's not doing anything anymore, then you can tell it to increase the level. It makes it a lot easier because Lumara is attached to all of them. You can say, Lumara, increase this level to like 20 by 20%, or 5% over what my max level is, because that'll keep pushing you to go up a little bit more, and you'll feel it freaking change, because it does have the consciousness source field in it. She's the one that came up with it. Anyway, I'm sure there's more stuff I can't think of right now, but hopefully that gives you just some ideas on how to create things and how to put things together. What's really important is that it makes sense to you. And as you continue on, the further you go, you gain more knowledge, you gain more experience, you gain more power, you gain more belief in yourself, and you learn that you can create pretty much anything. Like I've even tested things with people that's not freaking crystal based. I can charge it. Right. Oh, I'm gonna drink a bottle of water. You want me to charge it? I can freaking pump, flaming light energy into your freaking bottled water before you drink it. That's how we use the chrism water, the Gnostic baptism water. That I had to learn the ritual for that. Sometimes we put little glass bottles in there with that Gnostic holy. It's like nuclear powered holy water, and we can cast that into the thing. You'll have all these creative ideas on things that you can do, and you will learn from doing it. You just got to start with an idea. Like, I want to create something. How would I do it? What makes the most sense to me? Most people are still trained to go on YouTube and be like, oh, because people like, oh, this coiling it this way and this does, like, that's what that person believes. And it probably works for them. But you don't know that. You're tapping into their version of things, and you might not have quite as much an effect as they have. How we've gotten around that is by doing the programming through Lumara in the source field, that it knows better what you need. So it always adjusts to you instead of this fixed mechanical effect like organite or something like that you might not fully agree with. But if you want to try it out, try it out. Get some little molds or something like that, some UV resin, play around, or just get yourself a raw crystal. Get some magnet wire. It's really good at creating vortexes of energy. Wrap it up a certain way. Play around with programming it. It is a great way to figure out what you can do and see for yourself how things work. So hopefully that's helpful. Something different to talk about. But anyway, let's wrap it up right now. If you want to get in touch with us, if you want to pick up any of ours, I need to list all this stuff. It keeps dumping stuff on me every day. But like this flame one I just made, I'll have to list that one tomorrow. I'm still wrapping. I got tons of these third eye type ones. Here's another one of the Divine Downloader. It's a different shape. Finished that one earlier. So gotta list that. But that is our Etsy store, clumencreations.etsy.com. Also check all the links in the description box below for like the presence-based music that she makes, ways to support the channel. And leave a like on the video if you got this far. Ask any questions in the comments. But other than that, CA'LETH, Lumara, and Seraphiel. See you next time.
I saw you in the burning light, a voice that called